The Galactic Tribunal's chamber buzzed with anticipation as representatives from 12 species gathered to witness what many believed would be humanity's final humiliation. Admiral Vextar of the Hegemony stood at the center, his forearms spread wide in a gesture of dominance, while his translator rendered his words into the common tongue. "The charges are clear," Vextar proclaimed, his voice echoing off the crystalline walls. "Humanity has violated the Genetic Enhancement Prohibition Treaty by producing warriors of impossible capability. Their recent victory against our finest champions proves they have been secretly augmenting their soldiers." The human delegation sat quietly in their designated section. Ambassador Chen remained calm despite the accusations flying around her. Earth had won 17 consecutive conflicts against various hegemony members, each victory more decisive than the last. The alien powers couldn't accept that baseline humans could outfight their genetically perfected warriors. "We demand proof of their innocence through trial by combat," Vextar continued. "One champion from each side. If humanity's champion falls, they submit to genetic inspection and accept vassalage. If our champion loses—" He paused, mandibles clicking with amusement. "Well, that won't happen." Ambassador Chen stood gracefully. "We accept your challenge." The tribunal erupted in surprised chatter. Most species expected humanity to negotiate or delay. Vextar's compound eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "Excellent. We shall field Krothar the Inevitable, winner of 437 duels across 9 star systems. His genetic modifications include enhanced reflexes, reinforced skeletal structure, and poison immunity. He has never known defeat." "And humanity's champion?" asked the tribunal's chief arbiter. Chen smiled. "Professor Sarah Martinez of New Angeles Elementary School." The silence that followed was deafening. Then came the laughter, first from Vexitar, then spreading throughout the chamber like ripples in a pond. "A teacher?" Vextar wheezed between laughs. "You send a teacher against the greatest warrior in the galaxy?" "A teacher who has never lost a student," Chen replied firmly. 3 days later, the arena on Neutral Station Omega filled with spectators from across the galaxy. Betting pools heavily favored Krothar, with odds reaching 847 to 1 against the human. Sarah Martinez stood in the preparation chamber, wearing simple gray fatigues and checking her equipment. A basic energy pistol, standard body armor, and a small leather satchel. She was 53 years old, with graying hair pulled back in a practical bun and laugh lines around her eyes. 28 years of teaching 8-year-olds had given her infinite patience and an uncanny ability to predict behavior patterns. The arena doors opened. Krothar emerged first, 2.5 meters of bioengineered muscle and chitin, armed with plasma cannons and monomolecular claws. The crowd roared its approval. Sarah walked out calmly, nodding politely to the cheering spectators. She looked absurdly small next to her opponent. "Begin," announced the arbiter. Krothar immediately charged, plasma cannons blazing. Sarah sidestepped with fluid precision, not bothering to return fire. Instead, she reached into her satchel and pulled out a small red ball, bouncing at once on the arena floor. The champion's enhanced vision tracked the ball's trajectory instantly, exactly as Sarah expected. 28 years of getting children's attention had taught her that movement always drew the eye. Krothar's head turned a fraction of a degree, and in that microsecond of distraction, Sarah's energy bolt found the gap between his shoulder plates. Krothar roared and spun, claws whistling through the air where Sarah had been standing. She was already moving, having learned from countless playground games that staying still meant getting caught. From her satchel came a handful of small objects, erasers, she'd told customs officials, that scattered across the floor. Enhanced reflexes worked against Krothar now. His feet, designed for perfect traction, couldn't adjust fast enough to the unexpected obstacles. He stumbled, and Sarah's second shot disabled his left plasma cannon. "Impossible," Vextar muttered from the viewing box. But Sarah was just getting started. She'd faced playground bullies, angry parents, and bureaucratic administrators. She'd handled classroom disruptions, food fights, and the occasional child who thought they were smarter than everyone else. Krothar was simply another problem to solve. She pulled out a small mirror, personal grooming item, according to her manifest, and angled it to catch the arena's lights. The reflected beam hit Krothar's compound eyes, evolved to gather every photon but vulnerable to sudden bright flashes. He reared back, temporarily blinded. Sarah didn't waste the opening. Her next 3 shots found weak points in his armor that sensors had missed, gaps any playground supervisor would notice when watching for children trying to hide contraband. Crothar adapted quickly, covering his eyes and firing blindly. But Sarah had already moved to her next lesson plan. From her satchel came a whistle, the same one she'd used for 28 years to get children's attention on the playground. The sound it produced wasn't loud, but it hit frequencies that Crothar's enhanced hearing couldn't filter out. His genetically modified auditory system, designed to hear a pin drop in a thunderstorm, turned the simple whistle into agony. While he writhed, trying to block the sound, Sarah methodically disabled his remaining weapons. Then she did something that stunned the watching galaxy. She walked over to the fallen champion and extended her hand. "Good effort," she said gently, "but you telegraphed your moves. In my classroom, we call that showing your hand before it's time." Crothar looked up at her through pain-filled eyes. In broken galactic standard, he managed to ask, "How?" Sarah smiled the same patient smile she'd used on thousands of confused children. 28 years of teaching 8-year-olds, sweetheart. You think you're the first oversized child to throw a tantrum in front of me?" The arena fell silent as the implications sank in. Sarah had defeated the hegemony's greatest champion using playground tactics and teaching supplies. No genetic modification, no enhancement. Just experience dealing with beings who thought they were tougher than they actually were. Ambassador Chen's voice carried clearly across the stunned arena. Humanity doesn't need genetic enhancement. We have teachers. As Sarah helped the defeated champion to his feet, she added quietly, "And we never give up on anyone, not even the ones who think they're beyond help." The Galactic Tribunal's verdict was unanimous. Charges dismissed. The hegemony quietly withdrew their accusations, and several member species began requesting human educational consultants for their own difficult children. Sarah Martinez returned to New Angeles Elementary School the following week, where her biggest challenge was convincing her students that her trip to the stars wasn't nearly as exciting as finishing their multiplication tables. After all, she'd never lost a student yet, and she wasn't about to start now.